we wouldn't intentionally, we'd understand that we're in a public space and a shared space. So in a shared space, there's a certain amount of decorum necessary. It's the contract we have in society, right? I will try not to be too ignorant today.
Yeah.
All right there, intro dictator.
Yeah. Hi, this is William.
Intro Zilla.
Oh my God.
All right, let's get this show on the road.
Okay. Hi, this is William.
And Scout.
From Hypermentilating, the podcast, a show that follows life and change through the eyes of a father and a daughter. Join us as we find our way together.
That's not how I talk.
Pretty tight impression of you.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
As bad as my Scout was, your me was worse.
That's not true.
No, okay. I see where this is going. We're already off to a diluted start.
Yes, we are. Alrighty then. Let's head over to our episode. Okay. Is Kindle better than real books?
Just like we picked up and went to another location.
Yep.
We're over. Now we're in the episode space.
Okay, so is Kindle better than real books? As a person that loves and owns both things, I'm a Kindle lover. I love Kindles with my entire heart. Every night I read up for about 15 to 30 minutes because I love reading so much.
You're a heathen.
I am. I love reading so much. But on a Kindle, it's way better. See, I love paperback, hardcover books. I love them. I'll read on anything.
Don't be sending false love out to the paper products.
But ever since I got my Kindle, it's kind of hard to pick up a real book. I can pick up a real book and read, obviously.
It's just getting worse.
Obviously, I can do that.
Pain.
Like for Christmas, I got the Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes. And
you did? I'm
so excited to read that. When I finish the Vampire Diary book, I'll read it.
But now you wish you had got it on Kindle.
No, not at all. Not at all. I can read it either way.
Mm-hmm.
But the pro of a Kindle, my biggest pro, is the night thing.
Yeah,
I can read at night.
That is huge. Yeah. I have to wear that miner's lamp.
Yeah. And also because with a Kindle, it looks like paper. The texture of it makes it look like paper. So it looks like you're reading a book.
It doesn't smell like a book, though.
No, it doesn't. That is a pretty big con.
That's a big con. Books have that booky smell, especially when you find a good old book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'd say it is better than real books. Cheaper, too.
Yeah, I suppose.
Digital books are cheaper than...
Well, I mean,
most
probably most of the time, yeah.
Instead of $15, it's $7.
Yeah, there's huge advantages. Like all of the access you have to so many books that are online that don't cost anything, like old classics and books that have been turned into PDFs that now you can easily turn into a Mobi or an EPUB.
What I don't like about physical books is a lot of the times I find that the font is too little.
Yeah, definitely.
So on a Kindle, I can make the font as big or as small as I want it to be.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think about the pages. I just read.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, okay, 10 more pages until the next chapter.
I kept messing up Paz's pages. I kept messing up Maddish's pages on his new one because I was experimenting with the bookmarks. Yeah. But once you figured out, the bookmarks are awesome too.
Yes.
Like I love how you can... it's going to sound like I'm a Kindle guy because I kind of am.
Yeah.
I just love books, holding them, and that's what I grew up with, right? The things you can do with it, like you can bookmark pages easily. You can make notes on them. You can save things that you want to come back to. You can highlight things. Like, that's fantastic. If you're doing research or anything, it's freaking brilliant. Yeah. Like, it's so much better than scratching notes in the margin and ruining a perfectly good book.
The highlighting... Oh my God. The amount of times I've read a book and I've been like, oh, that's a really nice quote, or I really like the way she said that. So I highlight it.
Oh, and for anybody, but for, say, somebody learning a second language, or for you as a younger reader, getting your reading chops together, the ability to not understand a word and immediately get a dictionary definition, that's amazing. I wish I had that when I was a kid. I would read with the dictionary beside me. Literally, I had a dictionary, so I'd be like, and then I have to look it up. So to be able to do that is fantastic.
Quickly.
And the night thing is definitely huge.
Another thing is translating. So I'm reading the Vampire Diaries. Yeah. Go read the Vampire Diaries right now. Best my favorite book series ever. I love it so much.
There's probably an age range for that recommendation, is there not?
Probably like, depending on how well you can read, but probably 11
to
18. No, maybe even older. It's not a
young,
hard read.
No, but is it young adulty?
No, not really. But,
so grown-ups, okay.
Yeah.
We can do a book review on that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Coming soon. But yeah, so the translating. In this book, there's a lot of Italian references, like lapis lazuli. I kind of guessed what that was.
Yeah. Blue pencil.
Blue, yeah. I guessed what it was, but at the same time...
But that's because you know a familiar Romance language, right?
Exactly.
Italian, French, and Spanish all have similarities.
Latin.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was reading The Vampire Diaries, and there's lots of times in the book where they refer to Italian words.
Yeah.
And because two of the characters are Italian. So I have to go and I have to look up what the words are. But on the Kindle, I can just press and hold.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And the translation's at the top.
It's awesome. But before we wrap this up, I think some love needs to be thrown the way of the printed
the
word.
feeling of holding it and smelling it and the weight.
And having them in your house, right? Like if I go into a house and I don't see books, I mean, I don't need to see a library, but I need to see some books.
Yeah.
And if I don't, I'm immediately suspicious of all of the participants in living in that particular box.
Yes.
It's not right to not have books in the house to me, but that's going to go away. Like there'll become a time probably where you won't be able to make any kind
Kindles.
Well, maybe, but you just books are already sort of disappearing.
Yeah.
But I love the feel of them. I like holding them and the way the pages feel and the sound of them and the smell of them and having them, like having that sort of shelves of knowledge and understanding.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what separates us. It's seriously, to me, is at the end of the day is what separates us from the rest of the creatures, is our ability to communicate, but our ability to communicate so deeply.
Yeah.
Like we have a written word.
Descriptively.
I can write something down and pass it to somebody and they can have an understanding of what I meant however long ago.
Yeah.
Like that's fantastic.
Well, like when we go to Canada and we go to that bookstore and
they used to be everywhere, right?
Smelling
Bookstores
like,
used to be everywhere.
I like just going in and smelling the books.
Yeah. No, they're awesome. As long as reading's going on, like I'm so happy that you guys like to read and it's been encouraged.
I love it.
It's the way to knowledge, in my mind. It's more important than anything else. Like it's at the end of the day, that's the thing that you learn, right? Some basic math and how to read and write. And if you can do that in multiple languages and you have basic math, well, you're educated.
Yeah.
With the internet today, you can learn anything that you want with just the skill set of reading and being able to comprehend. So it's Kindles are awesome, for sure.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Okay then. Let's see what we have next in store. Is the fear of flying irrational? Okay, I have a lot to say about this topic because personally,
you lead off a lot of your contributions with I have a lot to say about this topic.
I do, because
it appears that there's much you have a lot to say about.
Yeah, there is.
Well, apple in the tree, I suppose, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, I like flying. I like it being in the air and the kind of peaceful feeling. It's not quiet, but it's also not loud. Yeah. I like just being able to sit there.
That thrum of the
you can't
engines.
really think of anything else because
what's the point?
You're in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to think about.
You have nothing to do.
Your mom's dead dog, you know, like you just have to sit there. And
well, that was oddly specific.
Because there's nothing you can do about anything, right? There's nothing you can do. So I like that. But takeoff and landing, wish that takeoff and landing never happened. That it was never invented.
Well, it's a large part of flying.
Well, yes it is, but I wish it never happened.
Well, then.
Because takeoff is so... we're not meant to be in the air, in a metal box.
So
cylinder, but
if
still.
you were to equate it to food, you would say you like the eating part, but not the kitchen or the bathroom part.
Exactly. And, well, okay. statistically, landing is more dangerous. But I don't care as much about landing. I don't like landing.
I don't think that's true.
It is because there's more things that could go wrong. The wheels don't come out. You could not be going the right speed.
If I was you, I would pursue some
I don't
research
know.
on
My
that.
English teacher told me that not a while back, so
Really?
I was just assuming.
I mean, it could be true, but that is the danger of having one opinion and using it as ultimate truth.
But
the only reason I say that because is that landing is natural. The plane wants to come down. It has wings. It has ailerons. It's everything it's trying to do is to come down. Right? Even if you don't have the yes, it's super dangerous if the wheels don't come down. But there is ways of slowing down the speed and coming to an unintended landing.
Yeah.
Whereas taking off is completely unnatural.
It's relying on the tarmac
power,
and
the power, right? The power of the engines and the thrust. It's trying to get this incredibly large object with all of this weight from still to 300, 400 miles an hour up in the sky. So I don't know. I'd definitely look at that. To me, that's where the fear comes in for sure. I agree with you as the takeoffs and landings.
I mean, last episode we talked about robot drivers and we talked about how it's autopilot. Just thought I would throw that in there as a little shout out to last episode. Yeah. But
you love cross-referencing episodes.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Statistically, flying is much safer than being in a car.
Much safer.
Much safer. It's actually, I believe I saw a video one time talking about the safest vehicles, motor things.
Yeah.
A car was very, 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 very far up on the list. Or far down.
Yeah.
But airplanes were very high up on the list.
Part of that is how many are in operation too, right? Like there's far more cars on the road worldwide than planes.
But think about it. I mean,
statistically way safer. Flying's way safer. There's just so many more precautions taken. Like before the plane leaves, there's all. It'd be imagine if every time before you got in your car to drive away, you walked around your car with a checklist. You check your air temperature, your tires, you made sure this, you checked that, you poked this, you prodded that, you shook this. That's what they do before they fly. Like that guy I used to go up with back in Canada, John, right, the restaurant owner. That's what he did before we could take off. He had this whole list and he went through it like really seriously, was checking this and checking that, did a walk around on the little plane and everything. And he did that every single time, and not just him. Every guy does that, like takes it really seriously. Like, okay, what's here? This is good. We don't do that. We get in our car, the thing hasn't been serviced in a couple of years. People are driving jalopies around, like just falling apart.
Just the other day, we were driving to jiu-jitsu, and on the side of the road, there's this buggy with zebra print on it, missing all of the doors, and poking out of the sides of the car are like other tires, but not normal sized car tires, but little like dinky ones. What? How is that legal? There's no roof, no doors.
It probably isn't legal. But
one of them was sitting on the back of the car, like literally on the ledge, not in the seat. Window. Well, there weren't any windows,
it's
but
a bit Wild
there was
West
no front
here, though,
window.
stuff like that, right? Illegal and what's allowed aren't the same thing.
It's kind of like, when you're a kid, you want to turn a car into a jacuzzi or a pool.
No, but I hear you.
Yeah, Madish and I always would talk about that.
I can remember you guys having your big discussions about that. How you were going to have like a limo and have a pool in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It kind of gave off that sort of vibe. Like, when I'm older, I'm going to have a zebra print car with nothing that would ensure a safe drive.
Yeah. And you don't see planes like that.
No.
Not since the original planes.
Yeah.
Like those guys were flying those things, but not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but back to the original question, because the original question is a good question. Is it irrational? And I would say that it is not irrational.
No, it's not.
Because it is an unnatural act.
Exactly.
So I don't think it's irrational to be afraid of doing something that is a bit sketchy.
Yeah.
Like you're in a flying cigar. So I think it's safe. So I think that worrying about it too much is pointless, and if it bothers you that much, you probably shouldn't get in one.
Yeah.
But irrational, no. Like, irrational fears to me are fears of, I don't know, spiders. Or I guess there could be an argument if somebody bit by one or something.
Yeah.
But irrational is when you're afraid of something that really can't cause you any harm. There's no reason to be afraid.
Right.
So I think you could find reasons to be afraid of flying, or I suppose spiders. But you can't find reasons to be afraid of, like, the color blue.
Right.
If seeing blue makes you afraid, that's not rational.
No.
That's irrational.
Yeah.
That would be my definition.
So no, the fear of flying is not irrational.
No, but what's an irrational fear? What's a common one?
The fear of holes, trypophobia. Madish has it.
Yeah, that's a bit irrational.
Yeah. I can understand why someone would have it, but also...
I don't particularly.
There's people that are afraid of getting in caves because they're so scared of holes.
But I don't think that's... Okay,
no,
so
like
that's...
the opening of a cave.
Yeah.
Because it's shaped like a hole. They won't get in caves.
I think that's borderline irrational. Like, I definitely don't like the idea of being in an enclosed space.
No, but that's different. I'm not talking about they're afraid to be inside of the cave. They're scared of the entrance itself.
Yeah, right. That's what I know. That's, when you meant holes. It's just the hole itself. It's not what it contains. It could be just the pore on a skin is a hole. And if they start thinking about it or see a close-up of it, I would definitely say that qualifies irrational.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, then. So, flying is I don't think it's irrational to be afraid of it. I just think it's pointless. Just don't get in one then.
For our segments, we're going to switch things up a little. We're going to do the hear me out first. So, this one is a little shout out to BD because, well, I don't know if you remember, but you will in a second. Music at beaches or pools. When you're just trying to relax, have a good time.
This is back-to-back episodes where BD's being referenced.
Yeah.
Huh? That's what you get when you're our number one fan.
Yeah. Thank you, BD. But yeah, basically, music at beaches or pools. When you're trying to have fun with your family or just maybe suntan, and all of a sudden you hear, Bad Bunny. I love Bad Bunny, but I'm just saying, you hear Bad Bunny blasting at 500 meganauts per second.
Yeah, not a thing.
In your ear while you're trying to suntan or you're listening to your own music in your headphones. It's so annoying.
What's the equivalent of 1 meganaut?
Probably like a cat meow.
A cat meow is 1 meganaut?
Yeah.
And so music blasting by the poolside, that's 500 meganauts.
Yeah, it depends what kind of person you are.
That's quite a scale.
If you're blasting it at 10 meganauts, then fine. You're just trying to have some fun with your
But that wouldn't be blasting
friends.
Then.
No, that would just
be playing your music.
Yeah.
So at 10 meganauts, how far away can you hear a 10 meganaut song?
Probably from our house probably from this floor to downstairs. It's like 10
it's pretty
meganauts.
loud. That's quite a jump from a cat's meow at 1 meganaut.
Yeah, you're right. It's probably from this room to my room.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's so inconsiderate of the people around you. Like, okay.
Oh, it's fantastically ignorant.
I go to the beach with my friend.
It's incredibly ignorant.
And we're swimming in the pool and we're playing mermaids, as one does. And the people next to us have a waterproof speaker tied around their neck. And they're playing, I don't know, anything. They could be playing anything. I don't care if it's my favorite artist in the whole world. If you're blasting your music at a private or public place that other people might not want to listen to, it shouldn't be allowed.
And for those of you out there who are thinking, wow, first world problem. At the beach, it's noisy. Yes, I hear you.
But
I mean, we are lucky that we get to, get to the beach. We live on the ocean.
Pools, though, too. They do it at pools. And
same thing.
Much
We're lucky
smaller
we get
places.
to get to a pool.
And also...
Yeah, I agree.
Just play it at your towel with your dog or whatever. Just play it at your towel. At 10 meganauts. Even 15 meganauts.
I don't... anything you're doing that's bugging other people in a public space, like that's really what this is, right? Like, is it okay to bug other people in a public space? It's for sure not.
No.
And music's a big one. It doesn't have to be just music, though, either. If you're
yelling on the phone
and yelling
or
talking loud, a loud talker, like none of it's acceptable.
No.
But what are you going to do about it? There's nothing you can do about it. You can't police ignorance.
No.
Right? You can only go over and say, excuse me, please, could you turn that down? But 9 out of 10 times, if it's the kind of person who didn't think of it on their own that they're bothering everybody, they don't respond well to the suggestion that they turn it down.
No, they don't.
So then you're thinking, if I go over there, it's going to be a big battle. And it's just going to get ugly. And so you just let it go. And that's what everybody thinks. Oh, God.
Yeah.
I don't want to go and deal with that idiot.
Okay.
It's annoying. It's super, super annoying.
So that's my little rant there.
Well, I think that's a totally legit.
It's my rant and also on behalf of BD.
Yeah, that annoys her, does it?
Yeah.
I could just see her getting worked up about it. I don't blame her.
No, it's irritating. It's annoying.
Actually, she'd get worked up the same way I would, or her mom, my sister.
Yeah. I can just picture the three of you.
Yeah, well, because it's ignorant.
It is,
And we wouldn't do it, right? It's not because we're saints. We do lots of things that annoy people probably tremendously. But we wouldn't intentionally. We'd understand that we're in a public space and a shared space. So in a shared space, there's a certain amount of decorum necessary. It's the contract we have in society, right? I will try not to be too ignorant today.
Yeah.
And they're those kind of people, they just don't care.
No.
They're like, whatever, man. Everybody wants to hear my reggaeton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my hear me out. So, guess who's being put on the spot today? Type your guesses in. Just kidding, don't do that. Or do.
Yeah. And we'll get them in the future. And we'll act like we didn't already come from the past.
Whoa, how did she get that?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So, if you guessed dad, then you're correct. Okay, I want you to tell me the story about when you got stuck in the muck with your quads and your buddy.
Oh, yes. Yes. All right. I have to try and filter these stories. I have to filter out all of the untoward language. And then I also have to try and tell it in such a way that I don't come across as a full-on nutter.
Well, good luck with that.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember the guy's name. I can't even remember the nickname I had for him. That might have been Stealthy McNodrive. I think it was, And we had been choppered in. So the quads were slung in on a helicopter. We were in the middle of nowhere. Like we were in the Northwest Territories. And there was no more roads. Like I had left a truck by the side of the road and we were in a camp. And every day the helicopter would take us to the new location, like further in from the camp still. So it was in the middle of nowhere. And I had already had worries about this guy. He had talked me into it, like, no, I'll be good. And I'm like, man, dude, this is the middle of nowhere, and you know, there's nothing to do, and it's just working, and you're, no, it'll be awesome. I really want to go on a helicopter. Yeah, all right. So it was kind of in the spring, and the snow hadn't melted, but it was breaking up, so it was in muskeg, and muskeg's like this weird kind of grass on top, and sort of like mud underneath, and it's just breaking up, and it's too wet for sleds, and so you need quads because sleds will just get stuck in this stuff, but quads won't. And there's a way to do it where you can lift your quad, get off of it, and kind of lift it up the back just enough. You get enough leverage. It's not like you're thoring the quad out of it. You're just lifting it enough, and then give it a bit of gas, and you kind of bump it out, and that's just what you have to do. You get kind of bogged down, you get off, you move, you go for 10 minutes, you get bogged down, you get off, you move. And this dude, like, he would get stuck, and then he would just pin it, like, push down on the throttle, and just the tires would go zzz, and he'd just dig himself in deeper. And then I had to come over, and now you got to really, like, both of you lift the back end of the quad, and it's a huge amount of work. And so I told him a couple of times, like, and there was mosquitoes. It was the mosquitoes where the bugs were out, because it was, spring. Yeah. It wasn't quite spring, but March, say. And he hated the bugs, and he was going mental, and he was freaking out. And I kept telling him, just listen, man, you just got to be peaceful. This is what you got to do. Finally, we were going down. I remember it was kind of an open cut, and I'm ahead of him, and I hear swearing, cursing and swearing. And I stop and I look back, and he's in the muskeg, and he's trying to get out, and he's just sitting on the quad, and then he just starts it again, pushes down on the throttle, and I just see a rooster tail of just mud and dirt being thrown out the back because his tires are just spinning, and I could see the back end sinking, and there's all kind of gear on it and everything. So now I'm kind of upset, right?
Yeah.
Like at this point, I've had enough. I mean, every day with this guy, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I don't have any other help.
Yeah.
Like it's serious enough. Like imagine if something went wrong. Like if I got hurt or something. This is the moron I got to rely on, right? So I go back and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I probably wasn't as calm about it as that, but pretty close at first. And he's like, and I'm like, I know, man, but I how many times have I told you this is how you get out? You can't just do what you're doing. Do you not see that you're digging yourself in deeper? The quad's like sitting now at an angle, right? Like he's clearly dug it in, the tires in. And this is what he says to me. It's the quads. It's your quads it's more swearing. Eh? No, it's not the quads, man. It's you.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's it. I quit.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's why I told all that other part, right? Choppered in and everything.
Yeah.
He's like, that's it. I quit. Pardon? He's like, I quit, man. That's it. I quit. You quit, do you? Yeah, I've had enough of this. And that's it. I couldn't take this guy anymore. So I'm like, you know what? Grab your stuff and walk up there to that big clearing right up there. You go up there and just stand there and just do nothing for a minute. Whoa. And I said, don't worry about it. You just go up there and wait. So he goes up and I got on the sat phone because, we didn't have phones.
Yeah.
So I got on the satellite phone and I called the camp and the chopper pilot. And I'm like, come and pick this guy up and get him out of here. Take him back. And so that's what he did. He came and landed in the clearing, picked the guy up. Yeah, I worked with a native after that who was there, who was 1,000 times better, like knew his way around. And yeah, like the guy... Get out, man.
Yeah.
I quit. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, pardon? So yeah, I didn't even talk to him about it. I'm like, all right, yeah, you do. You're gone. See ya. So
and then when you told him to go to the clearing, he was like, what?
Yeah,
what?
I just couldn't take him anymore. Because it was dangerous, too. Like, you needed somebody you could rely on. You know? I quit. What do you mean you quit?
It's the quads.
There's no quitting.
It's the quads.
It's the quad, yeah. It's your quads. There's nothing wrong with my quads, man.
No.
You just don't know you just won't listen. So, yeah, the pilot, I saw the pilot back in camp that night, and I'm like, so what did you do? He said, I just left him by the side of the road up there where the trucks were. There was like a little, it was kind of half gas station, half, it was just a box on the side of the road, right? It was literally the end of the road. It's the end of the highway that sort of bisects South Alberta.
Okay.
Yeah. Just left him there. And he had phone service there.
Yeah.
Eventually, the next person who was driving back, south gave him a lift. Well, I had no sympathy for him. I quit. You can't quit on people in the middle of nowhere.
You got choppered in.
In the middle of the woods. You quit.
You're not going anywhere.
All right. There you go.
I liked that. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really something. Well, does that bring us to the end of episode the 13th?
It does.
My favorite number.
Yes.
We will never do another Hypermentilating the podcast episode the 13th again.
We won't.
So this one is already legendary.
It is, yes.
The 13th. Mm-hmm. All right then. Well, I love you very much. Thank you very much.
I love you. Thank you. Next time.
Next time for sure.
Yes. I love you.
I love you.